Well, hello. This is Lance Wallnau. I'm in front of the characteristic whiteboard. This is our new whiteboard, by the way. New because I want you to observe what I can do. I can go little. I can go big. Isn't that impressive? I'm excited about modern technology. Now, I was asking my son, who works with me in transformational training and coaching, I said, what should we do today? Carl picked the curriculum. And he came over here, and I'll tell you what he did. He actually laid out for me exactly the menu of what he wants me to cover quickly today. And I said, all right, we'll go there, but why did you pick this? And Carl, what's the reason why you picked this?
Yes, sir. So the idea is how to operate at a level 10. And what we're talking about is a level 10 on your passions as well as a level 10 on your skills. So that's the XY block that you have first up.
Well, let's take a look at this thing here. So years ago, I remember being with my buddy Kim Clement, who was prophesying over various friends of mine. And he said, you're somewhere in the future, and you look much better than you look right now. He started rapping, you're somewhere in the future. And I started thinking about God has your face in the future. And then he would talk to me about how Ananias, when Saul was converted, and God went to him and said to him, he said, Ananias, you have to go to this man Saul and present yourself to him and pray for him that he's healed, because I've just revealed myself to him. And Ananias said, but Lord, this man is a terrorist. The Lord said, don't worry about that. You just go, because he has already seen a man named Ananias coming in and laying his hands on him. Now catch this. He has, I started thinking, he has already seen. So in other words, God put the face of Ananias into the future. And Ananias is down here. And the Lord said, as Kim would say in his characteristically rough South African way, your assignment is to get your butt where your face is. Your assignment is to get yourself where your future is. And this got me to thinking, indeed, does God have a place for us? I'll put a little smile on his face, and I'm going to put a crown on his head. So what I'm saying here is, the Lord really wants you to step into the full kingdom authority of what he has planned for you in the future. Because eventually the future becomes today. Today is the future you were looking for a year ago. And if the future you were looking for a year ago isn't showing up today the way you want it, then maybe you need to rethink how you're approaching it. So, Carl, you picked this curriculum with the X and the Y axis.
Other way around.
Explain to the folks what the Y is and what the X is.
Yeah, sure thing. So the X is your passions. It's the thing that you care deeply about, the things that really get your goat, or they make your baby jump. All these different terms in order to signify there's something deeply wound within you that comes alive while you're doing this type of thing. And then on the Y-axis, the vertical axis, it's all of the things that you have a talent for, a skill set for, that you've learned, that you've applied yourself to grow in with these different skill sets or what have you. So to operate at a level 10 passion as well as a level 10 of your skill set brings you to that point in the future where your face is.
Hold it. I have dropped my pen. I'm going to go here. This is a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Did you notice how I did that, counting backwards? So if this is a level 10, what Carl's saying is you want to get a level 10 clarity. Let's start there. I've noticed that this XY axis has different attributes or characteristics that tell you something about where you're at. So for instance, this would be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say we go there. So if you're operating at like a level 7 clarity, well, I just don't know what the Lord's called me to do. So you really aren't sure. So when something shows up that's you're not looking for it because you're not clear it's there. When you're clear about what you're looking for, when it shows up, you see it. So if you're not clear what you're looking for, I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine who's He did billions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars at C.B. Richard Ellis Real Estate. And when I would walk into a room, I walked into a room like, well, I guess, sounds a little goofy, but I'd walk into it like a preacher. I'm just in there to see who enjoyed the message, who got something from it. I'm looking for receptive people. I just got done ministry. I'm looking for anybody I could help or want to talk about what I was talking about. And he observed that I really didn't know how to work a room. But here's a guy that did hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business. I said, what do you mean? He says, you're hanging around with the wrong people. You end up getting caught up with someone who's interested in a conversation. You should be scanning the room to see who you need to connect with. I never thought about that. Scanning a room and then moving through a room 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Not spending the whole time with, the waiter talking about, my message. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's something charming about people that have no agenda, but you ought to have the wisdom to know what you're doing when you need an agenda. So I thought, I never thought about working a room. He said, you don't even know who's got money in this room, who doesn't have money, who's got a business you should talk to, who doesn't have a business. But you see, he's going somewhere. Me, I was just happy to find people that wanted to hear me talk. But what I'm saying is this level 7 clarity, let's say you got a level 7 clarity and a level 6 passion. You're doing, you like what you're doing, but you're not that clear about what it is you're doing. Here's the point. If you don't have it in any relationship, this x-axis is motivation. This axis is skill. Motivation, skill. I'm going to put that, matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to add the word motivation here because I'm going to show you how this works. And I already got the word skill over here. If you're in a relationship with somebody, ladies, listen up. You're in a relationship with a guy. And the guy knows how to treat you right. He knows how to talk to you. He knows how to woo you. He knows how to win you. He knows what you like. He knows what you don't like. He knows what flowers you like. He knows what restaurant you want to go to. If he knows it, but doesn't do it, it's not a skill problem. It's a motivation problem. The heart's not in the relationship. Now, on the other hand, if the person is eagerly trying to get things working, but is fumbling all over himself, the problem isn't motivation, it's skill. What I'm telling you is in every relationship, in every job, the performance of a person in a company, the performance of a person in a relationship, it's one of two things. It's either the inability or the skill or the wisdom to know what to do, or it's they really aren't motivated to do it. You have to always analyze when you're working with somebody, what's the challenge? Is it motivation or is it competence? Because if they've got competence and motivation, I'm talking level 10 here. If they've got a 10, meaning if they're at a high level of clarity and a high level of motivation, this is the zone where your highest future is formed and where you start showing up the way God wants you to show up. By the way, what's the link for this again? Carl, what is it?
LanceWallnau.com/ultimate.
LanceWallnau.com/ultimate. So what we're going to do, what this will teach you to do, it'll teach you how to get clear. We call this an I am statement. One of the things I found is that you need to get to the place where you're clear about who I am and what I am all about. This tells you, in a sense, where your heart is, but this helps to tell you where your talents are the best. In other words, you may want to be the best at something, but is it what your skills tell you? God didn't call you to mediocrity. By the way, the word for mediocre in Latin is halfway up a mountain. Did you know that? Mediocre is halfway up the mountain. God didn't call you to go halfway. He called you to go to the top. The challenge is you have to have the right mountain. All right, let me go over here to this next illustration. Carl, what were you thinking of for this one?
This one, I really like the terminology of significant emotional events. So these are the peaks and valleys of our lives that kind of help illuminate elements of ourselves that might not be as plain as day. So the high points influence elements of ourselves, the low points influence elements of who we are and how we show up and how we show out. And that also can be a factor in our motivation. So our self-talk around the significant emotional events could influence the way that we behave moving forward. For instance, if you have a negative event and you have this always or never mindset where it's always the wrong thing and it never works out, that type of self-talk, that monologue inside of you actually is going to shape the way that you show up to the next thing. Now, if you flip that and invert it and you say that things always work out for you, that you never really have to worry or concern yourself with the details because you're always going to be fine, then actually that skating through, that dancing through life is also going to show up in how your emotional events take place.
All right, so as I understand, I want to make sure that's covered in this particular, I don't know if that is covered here.
It's mentioned in part, but also what it really does is...
I think it's more unstoppable. I think the map, this is in our Unstoppable series.
Yes, and it also does help with mastering yourself to best understand what are your core drivers that are being met in the high points. So what are the significance needs, the certainty needs, the uncertainty, the variability, what type of growth are you experiencing in these high points, and what's being absent in the low points to better reveal to yourself who you are.
Yeah, well, you can get more than one of these. We have 4 different trainings we do. This one is going to be called the, come back here, why is it jumping around? What the heck? Stop, you know why? Because the pen, the magic pen, it doesn't know whether to respond to, am I going this way? So it's called the Unstoppable.
2 P's.
It's not 2 T's, but 2 P's.
If only we could stop this word from happening. Unfortunately, the typo is unstoppable, so it's too strong for us.
What the heck? Oh, forget it.
This is wonderful. Just move on. Just move on, man. It's fine.
Stop. This is even more confusing over here. Do you see what I drew while you were explaining it?
Yeah, what is that? What did you do?
It made sense to me at the time. So what we were doing here is I was saying...
Is that a dancing stick figure?
Significant emotional events, you see, become the glasses through what you see. So you see your significant emotional events form your brain. Your brain is made up. Like if you had bad experience, like you had bad experience evidently with teachers in school, which is why you're always having conflicts with your teachers. So you always saw teachers as your enemies.
I seldom had conflicts. I was delightful. I was a treat.
No. And I would say, I would try to teach. As your teachers were telling me, Carl's very smart. We had one Indian teacher. He's very smart, but he will not apply himself.
4th grade. This dude won't let it go.
Yes,
see, that was a significant emotional event for him.
Carl had a bad memory,
so that's how
and he imposed it on every teacher he had since 4th grade.
Fake news. Move on.
They were all out to make his life miserable.
No.
He was mad at them all. Anyway, significant emotional events... What the heck?
This is a significant emotional event for Lance right now.
Significant emotional events. They tend to form the way you see. Significant emotional events. You see how that means? They color your perception until you do what? You take those glasses off. Now, this is in the series called Unstoppable.
Yep. UNSTOPPABLE.
Unstoppable. Basically, that says you have some significant emotional experiences that are highlights. Then you have some lows. Then you have some other highs. Then you have some other lows. Then you have some other highs. And this is life, folks. Jordan Peterson put it this way. He said, would you rather have your children safe or have them strong? See, if you want them to always have highs, they develop strengths. But you see, they don't know how to handle life because they're weak. So you want them strong as well. So you can have them safe. So what you want to do is you want to allow people to have the full range of experiences. And what we teach is that if you can weave together the highs and the lows, you can actually make it work in a sense like Joseph's crown, where you have, I was listening to Kim Clement basically just this week, from an old prophecy. He said, there's Judas and there's Joseph side by side. One betraying the country, the other delivering the country. Boy, right now we got the Judas and the Joseph side by side. Kim nailed it so clearly. The Joseph here may be betrayed by circumstances, by other people, but if you respond correctly and don't let it weave into you, remember this, don't let those events change you and make you bitter, but actually sanctify you, then it becomes a crown of life. And what you'll see is eventually the Lord himself will take that situation and weave it together to form an unstoppable power in your life. Now, these ideas are introduced in various ways in the material that we have in our curriculum here. And I don't know, do we have this one? Is this also part of our...
It's part of the greater curriculum, so I put it up there.
Okay, so basically this is like an overview of the...
Yeah.
Of the larger part of the curriculum. We got 4 minutes left. I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Do that last one, because that one is definitely in your ultimate life strategy.
I'm going to skip that.
The 4 stages in every life assignment. You got 4 minutes up to minute.
I've talked to you guys about this before, but so while you're getting clear about what you're called to do and where you're called to go, remember the link. It's on the bottom of the screen right now, lancewallnau.com/ultimate. You'll get the training complete with the workbook. I'm telling you, there's so much more material in here that I'm getting into right now. This is like a drive-by shooting here. This isn't even the whole thing.
What a great
you have the
product.
What we're able to do is we take a look at, for instance, an analysis of your whole, the whole enchilada of where your life is right now in terms of your finance, your romance, your spirituality, your physical life, your health. These things are all real. I mean, if any one of these tires blows out financially or relationally, it affects everything. It's like having a toothache. It affects everything when that one area is out. So we take a look at your life, and then we start to evaluate where is it that you need right now to shore up and kind of fill in the design. And then we like to look at that information and play it into the phases of what the battle is like in your life right now. The first phase is the dream phase, which is when I have a dream for where I want to go. And you know what? That dream phase puts you over here, where your face is in the future. I talked about that earlier. This is your level 10, but you know, you don't start off with 10 clarity, do you? You don't start off with 10 skills either. You may have a dream about where you want to go. Prophecy is misleading. Prophecy gives you a taste of the future. If you're not careful, you'll keep going to the prophet, keep going to the prophet, keep going to the prophet to try to get there. But the prophet's job isn't to get you there. The prophet's job is to show you where you're going.
Their job is to
where are you going? If they're an honest prophet, you'll come down to this place right here because you're going to go into the distress mode. The distress mode is that typically after you receive the word about where God is taking you, you run into opposition. It's new territory. You've never been there before. So what you're developing now is you're developing new skills you did not have. You're going to have to get up to that level 10 new skill development. You're going to have to develop new insight that you didn't have. I didn't know anything about this particular subject. Well, you're going to learn about it now. How does Washington work? Who to hire? Who not to hire? It's the complexity of things you got to learn. You're new. You have the ability to go here, but you're finding out you don't have it all together. So we call this unconscious incompetent here. You don't know and you don't know that you don't know. But here, you are now a conscious incompetent, and you say, get me out of here. I don't want to be in this relationship. I don't want to be in this job. I hate this. Relax, don't panic. Help is on the way. You're actually in phase 2. This is the distress stage. Everyone goes through it. But what happens is, boom, you start to develop. You start to build some muscle. You start to lift the weights. You're pulling up those barbells over your head, and you're finding out that you can do this thing. It's just going to take you some repetition, strength, work it. Oh, I'm so pained. I don't know if I'll ever do it. You will do it. In the development stage, you're becoming Go back to that red there. You're now developing conscious competency. You're learning what to do, skill, what to do, wisdom, what to do, putting on the right attitude. And then finally, bing, you now where your face is in the future, and you're in the stage where you are demonstrating. This is the Joseph phase. This is when you are now, in a sense, stepping into the future. We have 4 DVDs, 4 or more hours of training from a live event that I did, Ultimate Life Strategy. This is cracking the Convergence Code. My belief is that 20% of Christians actually get into the place where they meet their face in the future. 80% don't. Here's the secret to how you get there. You listen to this material, you watch these DVDs, my friend, and you're cracking the Convergence Code. Go to lancewallnau.com/ultimate, because you could be stuck in the distress stage. How do you get from there into the development stage? You have to have a divine appointment with the rabbi, with the teacher, with the illumination, with the motivation, with the information. It's typically where a mentor or a coach shows up that'll say, are you ready yet? You don't really need them when you're here. I can do it. I'm motivated. You need them when you're here. I feel like I'm getting beat up. Everyone does. We've all gone through that stage. Time to learn how to go to mastery. So anything you want to add to that, Carl?
Yes, I think that the 20% that you mentioned who end up going into the demonstration phase are a lot like the 1%, where it's actually a fluid thing. So it's not like you get into the demonstration and then you stay there. You can actually promote your way out of convergence. You can work your way out of convergence. You can have a blowout on one of those other areas on the wheel of life, like you mentioned, that's going to pull you out of that area. So it's not enough to know how to get there, and it's not enough to be demonstrating an unconscious competence in that area. You have to have a gold medal performance. You have to have an identity statement that reinforces and backs up that you know what you're doing. You need to surround yourself with mentors. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So there's a lot more that goes into this than just having the tools. You actually have to work the tools. You have to have a plan to work and then work the plan.
And so this becomes the unconscious competence stage Carl's talking about. Unconscious competence, which really means when you're in the flow stage, you're not consciously thinking about what to do. You're doing it intuitively. If you're a speaker, you're in the inspiration of the moment, and you're in a kind of a dance with the audience. You're in the creative moment with what's happening around you. It's an art form at that point. And it's natural to get there, provided that you've paid the price to develop the competency to improvise. But all that's your ultimate life strategy. My job is to help you get a general picture that this year is a year of great opportunity for so many, because this is a year when so much that was held back is being suddenly released. lancewallnau.com/ultimate, and I believe it's going to be ultimately a breakthrough for you. So confident I am of that, if in the first 30 days after you get the course, if this isn't what I said it is, and you watched the DVDs and you did the homework, if I quiz you on it and say, try about this, how about that? If you did it and it didn't break through for you, well, you got a different challenge in your life, but it's I don't know that this course is going to be that. But 80% of the people that do it are going to find convergence a heck of a lot easier to get into. That's why I got a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, money-back guarantee. Make the investment in you. You'll be glad you did. lancewallnau.com/ultimate. Take advantage of the offer while it's here, because it's on a special right now. God bless you.
Enjoyed this latest episode, please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.